Hey guys, Sean and Christy Michael of Long Honeymoon, also known as Lo, coming here with a new vlog for you. Our objective in this series is to converse. We really want to talk about specific topics that you guys want to talk about. In other words, questions that you've asked, comments that you've posted either on our website or on our YouTube page. And we really want to draw from our experiences, share them with you, and maybe we can help you pursue your own experiences. Now rest assured that throughout this series, we're going to be tackling a lot of nitty-gritty topics like tow vehicles, hitches, maybe the nuances of setting up a campsite, breaking down a campsite, boondocking, generators, maybe even shopping for RVs, choosing RVs, and travel in general. Because we RV because we enjoy travel. Really, we were travelers before we ever even started Airstream camping.
For many, many years. I mean, we were cross-country road trip travelers, we were backpackers in foreign countries, that sort of thing. So, you know, we didn't start with RVing. And we still do those other things. Even though we RV, we still go on backpack trips, you know, in foreign countries and that sort of thing. And that's something we really enjoy, and maybe some of you enjoy it, or if not, maybe you enjoy reading about it or seeing videos on it or that sort of thing. Maybe it'll encourage you to try it sometime if you haven't ever done it.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at this series of videos that we're going to create and post, these will be much more conversational. We may go into some topics that some of you aren't interested in, and if that's the case, attendance is always optional. You can always just click off and go somewhere else. But I know from my own experience just browsing YouTube, I enjoy watching some of the longer form conversational videos because I feel like I get to know the people a little bit better, and you get to go into a little bit more depth on some of these topics. And when we're talking about this stuff, where appropriate, we'll pull from some footage from our archives, because we've been Airstream camping hardcore for about 7 years now. And I've shot HD video footage from day one. So when we have a deep archive of material that stretches literally from the tip of Florida to northern Alaska and many places in between. So throughout some of these videos, we're probably going to intersperse you know, a lot of footage that we've shot over the years. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, here are 5 favorite places to RV camp in the United States. Number 5. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Now, when we stay in Santa Fe, there's typically, we stay at Santa Fe Skies, which is a privately run campground. It's just outside the city. Mm-hmm. It's just a good place to set up base while you're exploring the city. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit outside town, so you've got about a 10 to 15 minute drive to get to town. But what we like about this place, well, first of all, Santa Fe is just a really interesting cultural area. Mm-hmm. It's very unique. I mean, like if you've ever explored the Southwest, you know, Santa Fe is just great food, mm-hmm. especially if you like red and green chile. If you like hot, spicy food, it's a great place.
It's a kind of an eclectic mix of people, I think. There's some great shopping there. There's a lot of great antiques there, if you like that sort of thing.
Museums.
The museums are really cool. The churches are cool. You can drive up into Taos for the day if you want and sort of explore there. So there are options for things to do. You could drive into Albuquerque for the day and explore Albuquerque. So it's sort of a good little, it's a city, but it's kind of in the country too, if that makes sense.
All right.
Number 4, Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor, Maine.
Who doesn't love Bar Harbor?
Now, think about Bar Harbor. I mean, you're on the coast of Maine. Mm-hmm. There's Acadia National Park nearby. When we stayed there, we stayed in a privately owned campground, you know, kind of outside town once again, but it was no more than a 5 to 10 minute drive
maybe 10
to get into town. Mm-hmm. And there's just again, a unique culture in that part of Maine. Obviously, there's a lot of lobster.
Yep. Great place for lobster.
Really great lobster that's, you know, relatively cheap. I mean, like they're famous for lobster rolls.
The lobster pound, where they literally pull the lobster out of the, you know, net that they caught it in, or the trap that they caught it in, and they literally just toss it in a boiling pot, and then, you know, 20 minutes later it's on your tray. So it's about as fresh a lobster as you're ever gonna get, and they're super yummy. They have lots of great food in Maine, you know, seafood related, that sort of thing. Some of my favorite restaurants are in Bar Harbor. Acadia National Park is gorgeous. You know, you can go to the top of Cadillac Mountain and see the sunrise. It's the first place in the continental United States that sees the sunrise every day, which that's kind of fun, but you do have to get up at the crack of dawn to get there. Like, I think it comes up at like 4:30 or right at 5, and it's a good little drive to get to the top, so you're leaving really early in the morning, but it's a really nice part of the country.
We took a boat trip on
a schooner.
Yeah, a schooner. I think it's called the Margaret Todd.
4-mast schooner, and they raise all the sails on the mast. You feel like a pirate.
There are a lot of activities around there.
Yeah.
And, you know, our list is maybe a little bit biased. By us being Southerners, we like to go places that are cool in the summer. Because being from the South, you know, the South, it gets pretty hot and sticky during July and August, and that's when, you know, we like to be in places like Bar Harbor, because typically it's going to be pretty cool there in the summer.
In fact, I would warn you to really check the weather before you go, because the last time we RV'd in Bar Harbor, we were there in June. And that's kind of early season for Bar Harbor. Things don't really usually pick up there until mid-July. And the reason why is because it's cold and fairly rainy in June. And I mean, we ended up actually buying some extra jackets while we were there because it turned out to be so much colder than we were anticipating. I mean, down into the, you know, high 30s, low 40s. And for June, that's pretty chilly for us Alabama folk. We're used to, you know, 100 around that time of year. So I would definitely recommend that you check the weather because it will be chilly. But it's a great place to be in August when it's, you know, the hot days are 70.
And by the way, when you go, if you're a beer drinker, check out Bar Harbor Blueberry Ale, because I enjoyed that very much.
There's a great little kind of dive bar on one of the main streets there in Bar Harbor called the Thirsty Whale. And the Thirsty Whale carries Bar Harbor Blueberry Ale, and it's definitely like the local drinking hole. And it's just a fun place to go and hang out and have a yummy beer.
Number 3 on our favorite places to camp, we're going back to the South, the deep, deep, deep South, to Key West and Blue Water Key.
Yep, mile marker 0.
Now, this is one of the first places we ever took our Airstream to camp. But what makes Blue Water Key special? Well, it's a privately owned campground. It's not really even a campground because every person individually owns the different lots. And so the lots are all a little different in terms of accommodations.
More of like an RV resort, I suppose is what you would call
it. And our particular site had its own tiki hut, had its own private pier, and the water down there is very warm. You know, you could go swimming off your pier.
You could also rent a boat or a jet ski and tie it up to your pier if that's sort of your thing. So that's a good option for people. Or you could just lay in your lounge chair on your pier and suck up the sun and enjoy the view. You know, it was really quite nice. They have a nice swimming pool there as well if you don't want to swim in the ocean. But,
if you've never been to Key West, I've written before, it's an island that feels like an island. I mean, like, you really feel like you're out there. It's a fun place, it's a happy place. It's kind of like New Orleans and Bourbon Street on an island.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Duval Street there's always a party on Duval Street. The architecture to me is very similar to New Orleans, kind of has that French Quarter feel to it a bit. You know, there's a lot of interesting things to do in Key West. There's the Hemingway House, they have the Key West Lighthouse, there is the Harry Truman, the presidential house, the complex that he had there or whatever. You know, there's some museums, there's some great dining there. We did a fabulous snorkel trip while we were there one afternoon.
Yeah, like the water in that area is that sort of turquoise that you see in the Caribbean, and it's just gorgeous water that's warm and inviting. And the snorkeling trip, you know, we go out to this little reef, or big reef, I don't know, and it's a spectacular place to snorkel. Key West, if you've never been, you definitely should go. It's a lot of fun.
And the drive to get there is, you know, phenomenal.
Yeah, that's been rated one of the prettiest drives in America, is that drive from Miami to Key West. So, number 2 on our list of favorite places to camp is a personal favorite of my own, and that is Haines, Alaska. Now,
There's no easy way to get there.
no, there's really no easy way to get to Haines. Haines, to me, though, is a magical place, and specifically that area around Haines or near Haines, there's the Chilkoot and or Chilkat area. I think there's both,
One is
Chilkoot
the
and
lake
Chilkat.
and one is the river.
Right, so I get them confused. I think it's the Chilkat River and Chilkoot Lake, but I could be wrong. What makes Haines so special? Well, you're in Alaska, you know, like the environment is gorgeous, but the wildlife there is unlike any that I've seen, because the salmon come in and spawn there in the Chilkoot/Chilkat River, whatever it is. And so the grizzlies come down to feed on the salmon. And like, you're guaranteed to see grizzly bears. And if you've seen the video we posted here on YouTube of the grizzly bear in our campground, which was basically one campsite over, that was in
Chewing on the
Haines.
picnic table.
Right.
That was in Haines.
But, you know, when that bear came into our campground, you know, first of all, it was there almost on a daily basis, I think, because it would have to walk through the campground to get to the river. I knew the bear was well fed on salmon.
Yeah. It knew where it wanted to go to eat.
I mean, there was easy
As long as you didn't get between it and its food,
yeah.
you know, I don't think there was a real concern.
So as long as, as you didn't like really startle the bear or antagonize the bear, you know, I think the bear had a full stomach at most times thanks to the salmon.
Yeah.
So, but that was a fascinating place for the grizzlies. But then, as if the grizzlies weren't enough, it is the home of an eagle preserve. And there are literally thousands of bald eagles that come to Haines every year. I think October may be when the eagles sort of reach their peak in terms of numbers.
I think October and November, because we were just starting to see the start of it, you know, when we were there.
But I mean, bald eagles in Haines are like pigeons in New York.
I mean, you know, you would look in a tree and there'd be a dozen in one tree. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And they are feeding off the salmon too, so they're picking them up in their claws and, you know,
Fighting over them
really
sometimes.
interesting just to watch these eagles, you know, fish.
I mean, they are just majestic birds, and they're just fantastic to watch. So you've got grizzlies, and you've got bald eagles, and then on top of that, you've got, you know, the occasional seal that would come up and down the river, and
They come in to eat the salmon too. So, you know, they would swim in from the ocean kind of up into the beginning of the lake, or up into the mouth of the river.
Look at how cute they are.
But they were really cute. You would see them later in the evening, and they would sort of just float up kind of in the mouth of the river and do a little fishing and then go back out into the ocean. So that was really interesting to see as well, because, you know, I mean, where else are you going to see salmon, seals, grizzly bears?
so
Right there.
Haines is a great place. I mean, the camping is fantastic. It was pretty cheap, if memory serves.
Now, there's nothing, the town is not going to wow you. I mean, there's not really any place to go out to dinner. There's a tiny little grocery store. I think there was a Subway. So be prepared for that. But, you know, the view is awesome. And it's a great place to catch the ferry if you're going to take your RV on a ferry. We got on there and took it to Skagway, and that saved us about 10 hours of driving.
And the drive into Haines is just flat out gorgeous. I mean, that was one of the prettiest stretches of road we've ever been on.
And one of the smoothest roads we've ever been on.
It was paid for by the U.S. government, by the
It
way.
was gorgeous.
But the view on that highway was really phenomenal.
I mean, the American government paid for the road from Haines, Yukon in Canada.
Haines Junction.
Junction to Haines. So we'll thank the U.S. taxpayers for that one. But anyway, so that's Haines, Alaska. If you ever get the chance, definitely go there. And don't forget to go to Chilkoot, Chilkat, because that's where all the action is. And now we've reached the #1 favorite place to camp. This is the place if
This is my drum roll.
someone gave us an ultimatum and said, all right, guys, you can only camp in one place for the rest of your life. Where are you going to camp? Grand Teton National Park.
Hey, are you surprised? Probably not.
Probably not. And we'll put a / Yellowstone in there too. We sometimes lump those two parks together, although I don't know if that's fair, but they are.
They're so close.
They're so close.
I mean, you know,
Most people who go to one go to
gonna go to
the
both.
other. But they certainly both merit a lot of exploration on their own. And it's just a really magical, special area. I would say that corner of Wyoming that's unlike anything else that we've seen in North America. You know, I could just, off the top of my head, you got mountains, you got canyons, you got lakes, you got rivers.
Yeah, boiling pots of water spewing things.
You got hot pots, you got natural hot springs, you've got geysers.
Geothermal, just weirdness everywhere there, you know.
You got bear, you got moose, you got eagles, you got wolves, you got, you know, if you like wildlife, you're in heaven there.
Yeah. It's really just a unique place because no two visits are ever the same. You never know what you're going to see. You never know where you're going to see it. You've always got to keep your eyes open. The hiking is wonderful. The views are spectacular on pretty much every hike we've ever done there. We've got some great waterfalls. The town of Jackson is just a great town. They have some phenomenal restaurants. You know, the parks are fun. They've got great cultural activities. I mean, there's a concert or some sort of activity, especially in the summer, almost every night in the park. The Snake River Brewing Company is great for great beer. And just some of the drives that you can do around there. Even if you don't want to stick around right in Jackson, you know, you can drive over Teton Pass into Idaho and, you know, sort of see the backside of the Teton Mountain Range.
And our favorite place to camp in the Tetons is a campground. I know.
I'm kidding.
I'm going to tell because if you subscribe to our channel,
you already know.
You already know, or we're giving away our secrets. And that's why you subscribe, because you want to learn our secrets. So
Grovant Campground is where we usually stay. It's about a 15-20 minute drive north of the town of Jackson. It's on the far, you know, south side of the Grand Teton National Park. The one reason why we love Grovant is they don't take reservations. It's first come, first serve. It's a huge campground, and we've never been turned away, except for that one time the government shut down, but that's a whole other story. You know, we like that. We like to fly by the seat of our pants. We rarely ever make a reservation. We sort of go where the wind blows us, and we know not everybody can travel like that, but it's very helpful when we go places where we can get in. Yellowstone is not always the easiest when it comes to that. They do take a lot of reservations, and you do have to really stay on top of things. So that makes it harder for us there, but Grovant usually comes through for us.
I mean, Grovant it's cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, relatively cheap. It's close to town, so you can get into Jackson in about 10 to 15 minutes. There are partial Teton views from the campground. There are regularly moose walking through the campground.
Very common to see moose there.
Like big bull moose, moose cows with little calves. The campground is positioned alongside the Grovant River, and so you can walk over to the river. You can even hear the river from certain campsites because the campsites are kind of closer to the running water, which is very pleasant. You know, obviously there's great hiking around there. Within about a mile of the campground, there's a very historic barn, which you've seen 1,000 times.
The famous Mormon Row barn.
Well, I've been there at sunrise, I've been there at sunset. I mean, this is the type of place where, you know, truckloads of tourists pull up and, you know, guilty as charged. Could pull out their tripods and set up and photograph this barn, but still, you got to do it. So you could spend 4 months or even 4 years and not do everything there is to do in that area. So there you have it. Our top 5 favorite places to camp in North America. You know, we may rattle off additional campgrounds in future videos. I just thought kicking off this little chat series, since that is such a popular question, what's your favorite place to camp? We thought we would just list 5 right off the bat.
Yeah, because I can think of some more like right now off the top of my head that I would love to add to the list. But
top 5 could easily be a top 10, top 20, or top 30. But then this video would be, you know, 3-hour epic directed by Peter Jackson, and I don't think we want that, do we?
I don't know, they may want that.
Okay, well, if you do, let us know. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. All it means really is you get an email update with all your subscriptions on YouTube that, you know, whenever we upload a new video, you'll know about it. If you liked the video, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it.
Or just keep it to yourself. Nobody needs to know.
Go ahead, let us have it. Dislike it.
If you haven't liked our Facebook page, like that. It's just facebook.com/longlonghoneymoon. Leave us a comment there. Say hi, introduce yourself.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we've enjoyed doing this over the years, and we've enjoyed meeting people all over the country. And so, until next time, Lolo. Hang loose. Aloha.
That's hang loose.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Loloho. Loloho. We'll work on that.
We'll figure out something.